All right, we should be live on YouTube. So, hey, this is Bruce Hill, New Skills New You. I make sales simple for speakers, coaches, and consultants. And I actually have one of our first guests for Sales Q&A. It's my good friend, Vernicca Wynter. Say hi.
Hi there. Always good to connect with you, Bruce.
My pleasure. I appreciate the support and the opportunity to serve. So keep in mind, this is streamed live, and I'll leave it up on the YouTube. So definitely shout out your business, what you do. And we'll put link to your contact information in the notes. But also keep in mind if there's anything more personal to the business, we'll talk one-on-one because we locked in. So tell us what you do and who you serve.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I am Vernicca Wynter. I'm the founder and CEO of Intentionality Wins. And I focus on uh, creating leaders that are socially and emotionally intelligent and positive work cultures in an effort to not only create personal peace, but also environments that thrive with productivity and purpose.
I love it. I love it because when I started my business, when I started New Skills New You, it was five skills. It was always communication, discipline. There was learning, which is a separate skill. There was sales, and there was leadership. And I really feel like sales and leadership are more intertwined than people think. So I was really excited when you told me that's what you did. I was like, oh, we got to get connected. How did we meet? I always love the story because it was super random. Not super random, but it was definitely random.
I don't know if it was super random.
No, it was
I was
just
getting
kind
a
of
cup
random.
of water, and then you were like, "Hey, I'm Bruce." And then we started talking, and then next thing you know, um, they gave us a break to get food at at a conference, and you were standing with some people, and I walked by, and they were like, "Hey," and then we became best buddies ever since. So
We really have been locked in ever
goes to
since.
show when alignment aligns the magic happened. So yeah, I was super grateful that that our team of people happened to connect at that conference and that we're all in a path of growth together.
And listen, a lot of folks will catch the replay or they'll go virtual. But one of my biggest advice, and especially as AI becomes more and more indistinguishable from reality, you got to get in the room. You got to go in person. I don't know if we would have connected. Maybe we would have crossed paths eventually. Maybe. But there's something that magic happens in person. So it was Vernica and there was two other friends at the conference, and we was just four musketeers
That's it.
um
That's it.
for that whole conference. And then we have a mastermind call tomorrow too.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I think there's a lot of good things that happen at a conference, but it's what you do afterwards that
Right.
really is going to
Right.
transform the business. So that's why we're here. Um, I've got a couple sales questions. I want to answer any of yours. So the idea for the sales Q&A, because you got to shout out the book. Better questions equals better clients. Written by yours truly, four-time author, international speaker. Talk to me nice. I realize if you can ask
Go
better
get the book, guys.
questions,
Go get the book.
links in the
Get the secret
description.
sauce.
It's so simple. There's four questions I run my entire business on. Who can I serve with excellence? What's the transformation? How do we deliver that on that consistently, and then how do we price it so it makes sense for the business and to the client? So you had some questions about instantly.
Yeah, yes. I guess from a general sales point, um, I'm wondering the best way or ways to handle cold email outreach
Hmm.
without using your main email because we when you're trying to send mass emails out you run the risk of being spammed and flagging your domain and all that good stuff. So from a sales perspective when it comes to cold outreach, if there's tips or recommendations that you find helpful, I'd be interested to know.
Absolutely. So you asked a really great question. How do we send emails en masse to people who may not be expecting to hear from us?
Mhm.
Better questions are better our clients, right? And this is something, it's probably the number one thing I see any speaker, coach, consultant, entrepreneur is they just don't tell enough people that they exist. And I'm not even talking about running ads or billboards, great things to do, but telling more people is really the first thing. So instantly is a great way to do that. So we're doing a little, this is gonna fall under process, under that third question. How do we consistently create new clients or deliver on that promise to those clients? So instantly is an outreach tool. Let's see if I can share my screen. Beautiful. And I really love the language. That's why I wanted to pull this up. You may have never heard of this, okay? So I want to kind of start from Vernicca. I know you know what this is, but I want to start from the top for someone who may not have heard of. You can send one DM at a time. You can send, a connection request on LinkedIn one at a time. And there's some automations for that too, but email is still one of the top five ways to introduce yourself to new people. The first is actually phone calls, but that's a conversation for another day. So the problem is, how do we send enough quality emails to enough new people? And you said it without flagging your domain as spam, without a lot of bounce backs. And so instantly is a really great tool to find, contact, and close ideal clients. So let me go to, there should be a description.
It would be helpful to go to the pricing section because that kind of gives us some of a breakdown of their supports.
Oh,
Yeah.
good call. So first of all, where do you find the emails? They have a database. They're like, who are you going to email? That's that first question. Who can we serve with excellence? So you're like,
Yeah.
okay, there's 450 million leads. Who do I start with? Please do not try to send 450 million emails. Don't do, where is this is important so it doesn't look like you're sending too many. Can you still hear me okay?
Yeah,
What
I
happened
can
to my
still hear you well.
what happened to my camera? There's one more feature that they have that I think is really valuable. Where did it go? Hmm. This is one of them. Reputation protection and bounce detection. You said it earlier, so your domain doesn't get flagged. What that
Yeah.
means is if too many people report your emails as spam, it will automatically mark your email as spam for everyone you send. It'll get to the point you can send yourself an email and it'll go to the spam box. So that's important. You don't want to send a bunch of bad emails that bounce back as unfound, and you don't want to get flagged. There's one more that they did. Here it is. This is the answer to your question, is unlimited email warm up. So there's two pieces to it. First, if your domain is like mine, at newskillsnewyou.com, all my emails come from that, from my team, from my admin, etc. You want to use something else. So for me, I use Atlanta Bruce Company to send emails and Brucehill.online, and I may do one or two more to send if I ever send a bunch at a time. So you want to take those two, you want to put them through their email warm up, which you'll notice is in their growth phase. Looks like it's available here. And what it does is it staggers how often they're sent so that it shows regular use. And I believe that'll go anywhere from 2 weeks to 30 days or longer. The second thing you want to do, um, which I believe is under their advanced, is it's going to rotate when they're sending them at times to see who's opening them. It's going to remove any bounce so those aren't sent multiple times, and a few other features. So separate email domains and then use a warm-up feature. That's going to help make sure that a messages you send are delivered to their inbox, not to their spam box. So with their instantly is a great one. Warmly is a second option for anyone that's exploring. And then HubSpot has a warm-up feature as well. This one arguably is the best one for its simplicity and its effectiveness. So when we talk again, we can log in. I can walk you through step to step. Like, well, that's what to do. How do you do it?
Yes, I'm gonna give you an update because I created the account
Mhm.
and I'm gonna connect some of the email domains. I got a little nervous when I saw that if you create the email domains through them, they own those domains.
Yeah, no.
So if you ever decide to separate or break up, then you lose those, new domains created, but it may be worth it.
I would see like I have. Oh, I don't want to show you the list because it's got some customer emails on here. But I've got one, two, three, four, five different domains. So I would just try and grab one or two of those and use import yours instead of using theirs.
That
Um,
process gets more complicated when I talk to their help desk because I have several domains as well. And I
okay,
thought maybe I could just give them the domain and they would kind of handle the email side of it. But
okay.
they said that might be a little complicated because typically their done for you package, they create the domain and the email.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
that was their last communication when I asked, hey, if I already have some domains, can I just send those over? But I'm still playing with it. So
Well, if they
as I
offer
figure it out, I can
service,
let you know how it goes.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. These tools evolve, so I'm always open to learn, and not just learn, but update what I think I know. Um, well, I would just do this then. If they have that feature, start sending out a campaign, and then when anyone replies, put that in the CRM, and then that's a warm opt-in. And if you can even have a call to action, for example, if they go to your calendar, that can come from your primary domain, from Intentionality Wins, whatever you use. So now you will have the cold leads are going through instantly, and then those warm, right, replied, scheduled, those are in the CRM. That's not the end of the world if you decide to leave instantly. You won't lose those contacts.
True. That's a great suggestion. I definitely can do that.
That's what I would do when I have so one of the services I offer for a few clients is closing calls. And so they'll use my Calendly so it matches my calendar, but I'll send a report at the end of the week, month, whatever the case may be, and say, hey, these are the folks that booked. Here's the folks that showed up. Here's the folks that closed. Send them an invoice, of course, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what I've done. It works pretty well, and you don't have to worry about which one's where. I don't need to know all of them. I just want the ones that answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Let's not make it more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah. No, that sounds good. Well, I'm
So
excited to give it a try.
I love that you're at least trying something. A lot of people don't try things unless they know 100% it's going to work and how fast it's going to work. And I'm just like, that's
This
backwards.
doesn't work that way.
It doesn't. But that's what's the beauty of entrepreneurship. Let me ask you this. Why did you decide you wanted to send more emails?
Because it's my understanding that the more you do outreach, the more you're increasing your chances for a yes. So my goal is to go through as many no's as possible so that I can increase my yes rate.
Makes sense to me. Makes sense to me. It's simple. That's three things people struggle with sales is it puts them in front of uncertainty. Like, I don't know how this is going to go. Is it going to work? It's not going to work. It puts them in front of judgment. Like, what are they going to say? What if they don't like, the message or if I catch them at a time? And the third one is rejection. People just don't want to hear no. And so that's really interesting. Walk me through why you're looking for those no's when so many people trying to avoid them.
In a perfect world, we would get on a sales call and 100% would turn into clients and we'd get a bunch of yeses. But I also recognize that you want to make sure that clients are the perfect fit. So I think the more outreach you can do and narrow who you're targeting in your outreach, the closer you get to your ideal clients and servicing the people that can benefit the most from your services. So I also look at it as, an opportunity for me to get a better idea of the titles and the industries and um, the various avenues that I can explore that would benefit from my services.
Hmm. So if we're out there, maybe someone's watching this. Shoot, if I'm running around at a conference, I'm keeping my eyes and ears open for that ideal referral for you. Who does that look like? What kind of organization is it? Who am I talking to?
We're talking to organizations that are typically between 100 to 5,000 employees, and where there is an awareness of either employee or leadership burnout and disconnection,
Hmm.
and they're interested in what it takes to really transform that culture. So sometimes they're like, I don't know what the culture of my team is, or I don't know what the culture of my organization is, and that's why I start with an assessment of either the leadership or the entire organization, and then really build a professional development package that's tailored to creating leaders that have a higher social emotional intelligence, employees that are connected to their why and how to communicate in a more empathetic way with their colleagues and with potential clients. And really that creates a culture that people feel connected to, and that's what impacts retention, performance, and profits. So my ideal organization is an organization that cares about creating a positive culture and cares about investing in the leaders that are within that organization so that they can be better and therefore cultivate a better experience for all of their employees.
Hmm. I love how clear that is. Like I can find that person. Like I'm like, aha, I know just who to talk to. So remember those four questions I asked, who can I serve with excellence? This is a perfect example of someone describes who they can serve with excellence. Because you don't want to say, oh, I help anyone with employees. If they got three employees, this might not be a good fit, right? If they have 1 million employees, hey, that might be beyond our scope right now. I know she's building something great. And it's not to exclude anyone that you can help a little bit. It's to really focus on those folks you can help a lot. So cheers to you for having such a clear answer. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I can
Thank
find
you.
those
I
folks.
appreciate that. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
Let me see here. Got a couple sales questions from the workshop we did on uh Sunday. And I wonder if you'll help me with one or two of these. So this
Let's
one
hear
was
it.
interesting, and I'd love to hear your take. It says, please give, oops, what in the world? Here it is. How long would you say a person should keep pursuing their dream to be an entrepreneur before pivoting? I was like, oh, we in the philosophical questions. This is supposed to be a sales question. Um, but as a career professional, as an entrepreneur, speaker, there's pros and cons to both. So what insight would you have for that person who's thinking about asking themselves, we don't even say giving up, asking themselves, hey, is this the right path for me?
Yeah, so I think entrepreneurship looks different for everyone, right? There's entrepreneurs that um, run a business and that's their sole source of income. And so they are, you know, out every day trying to grind and make sure that they can keep their lights on. And then there's other entrepreneurs that might have a 9 to 5 and yet they're running a business simultaneously. So I think when we talk about what entrepreneurship looks like, I think it really focuses on what do you want that to look like for you? Do you still find joy in whatever the business is? And if so, what do you want that to look like in terms of your day-to-day experience? If you have a business where you're fine, meeting with clients and doing the work after 5 o'clock or on the weekends, then you might say, I'm fine doing a 9 to 5 and running my business simultaneously. I don't want my business to be lost in the shuffle of having to pay bills. I solely want it to be based on my passion and what makes me happy. So that might be the better path for you. Whereas other entrepreneurs are like, no, I'm going all in and I'm giving it 110%. And so if you do that, then it's almost like you are forcing yourself to have to figure out, how do I make this successful? And if you go that route, then you just have to always check in with yourself to make sure that your business is still bringing you joy. Um, and that the reason why you started that business is still at the forefront of why you're continuing that business.
Hmm. There's a lot to unpack there. That really might be a whole uh hour discussion. I love what you said about it looks different for everyone. And that's really my advice. You have to be careful when you look at people for a comparison versus looking at them for a reference point and what's possible. And it's not always based on age because some people started really early.
Yeah.
I have one friend, she's never written a resume, like ever, right?
Wow.
And then you have me, I've been 21 for almost 20 years, like, but I just started entrepreneurship very recently, right? Like
Yep.
my business hasn't even graduated college yet.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be careful if you started last week and you look at someone else, well, they're a billionaire, they're 50. Well, yeah, but they started when their dad started the business, right? So the business really started 80
Right.
years
That
ago.
part. That
So
part.
when you think about pivoting or even giving up, because it's okay to think about giving up, you
Absolutely.
ask yourself two questions. Haha. Better question, better clients. If you say, hey, is this what I want to do? Whether or not it's working, is this what I want to be doing? Is this where I want to go? The second question, am I making progress? So a lot of times we look at success as a destination. I think Earl Nightingale says that it's striving towards a worthy ideal. And then my mom, shout out to mom, she says it's success is progress towards your goals. And I think that's a really big one. You may not have hit that milestone yet, right? That
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl, that Grammy, that whatever that big milestone is. But just ask yourself if you're a little bit further than you were yesterday. If that answer is yes, keep going. If the answer
Yep.
is no, then that's where you ask, get a coach, maybe read some books, grab a course, get back on the right track. So thank you for answering that one. I love it. Let me
That's
see
great
here.
advice. Thanks, Mom.
Shout out to mom. That's my first investor. She um she wanted to get me something for Christmas and she's like, "You want a PlayStation?" And I was like, "Dang, I kind of want a PlayStation." But I actually started a business and then the business bought a PlayStation and I still have the business. So I love it.
Hey, it's a
Um,
win-win.
okay, last one. And I'm glad you're here for these because I know I get in a box of the sales coach and I do make sales simple, but it's really about personal development. It really is. Okay,
Yeah.
so please give an example of using a better question to gain better clients. And I really love this one for you because you're good at asking questions when you're having a conversation with like a potential client.
What does your ideal self and ideal environment look like?
Mm,
And I think that's a check-in question because it's very easy for us to get lost in the day to day. It's very easy for us to get lost in, oh, well, I've worked at this company for 20 years or 50 years or whatever the case may be. But I think when I'm working with a client, I always want to have an idea of what's their ideal state so that I know that my support and my services are going to get them there faster than if they did not have me. And the same for an organization. I know that if the organization continues doing business as they've always been doing it, they're going to keep having a high turnover rate. They're going to keep having leaders that burn out. They're going to have employees that don't feel like they are respected by their leaders or that their leaders care about them and that they're just another number. But ultimately, if the ideal situation is that people enjoy coming to work and that they feel appreciated, that's really what retention is all about. That's what productivity is all about. That's what profits are all about. Because if you have a burnt out team, those profits are going to be very short lived. And then you're going to go in the rat race of trying to always fill those positions that are key, fill the leadership team that's always a revolving door in your organization. So I think um, knowing what the ideal situation is for the organization and for the person that's leading that organization and the team that's leading each of those departments, I think that's really crucial in making sure that we can hit the mark every time with the services that we provide.
That's such a brilliant question. What does it look like? Because how they answer that changes where the conversation goes. That's good. That's good. Write that one down, everyone. Um, Please give an example of better questions to gain better clients. So one of my favorite stories, and I think this is in the testimonial section on the page. I had a call with a friend of mine, and she's like, "Man, I really want this client, and I don't know how to close them." I was like, "Well, can you provide the solution that they're asking for, whatever they want or need?" She was like, "Yes." And I was like, "Okay. Um, how much are they expecting to pay?" She's like, "I don't know." I said, "Okay. How much would you be willing to do it for where if they said yes, you just wouldn't mind?" And she was like, 20,000. I was like, "You said it real fast." She was like, "You know what? It's probably it's what she say is, 12 or 15 would be reasonable." She's like, 20,000, I could do a great job. I'm happy and they're happy. I was like, "Okay. If they're unwilling or unable to pay that, are you okay with that?" She was like, "Yeah." And I think that's a tough one for entrepreneurs because like every dollar counts.
Right.
So I was like, "All right, well, here's what you can do. You can say, hey, if I can help you accomplish this outcome in less than time period, does it make sense to work together?" If they say yes, you say, "Well, listen, to work with me is just $20,000. How would you like to get started?" She was like, "Okay." She's an operation automation specialist. Um, Fast forward 24 hours, she texts me back. She was like, "They said yes." And I know it's like, "Oh, word." I was like, "Well, when are you gonna get the invoice collected?" She's like, "They already paid." I was like, "Oh, snap." I was like, "All right, well, go serve them with excellence. Don't forget to get a testimonial." And it's not always that easy. I wish I could tell you 100% of the time that it's just two questions and you're done.
Yeah.
But a lot of people would have talked too much about why they're the best and how they're going to do it. And they use these tools and have this experience and these certificates.
Mhm.
That's not always necessary unless they ask you. A lot of people think sales is about talking and talking and talking. "I'm a great talker. I'm great at sales." Talkers are the worst at sales. Introverts are the best at sales because guess what? Look, podcast sponsored by Better Questions, Better Clients. They ask great questions like Vernicca did, and they listen to the answers, and that's how she got the deal done. Um, it's really that simple. So when I say I make sales simple, it's not always easy. You still face rejection, still have that uncertainty, still have that judgment, but asking better questions helps you hear yes more often and be true to your authentic self. So I think we'll stop there. I appreciate your insights on those. Just coming from a leadership perspective, any last word of advice before we sign off?
Stay true to who you are and who you are wishing to become every day, and make sure that every day you're making those forward steps towards that individual that you are dreaming and wishing that you become.
That's beautiful.
Intentionality wins.
Listen, my name is Bruce Hill. Make sales simple. And moving forward, we're going to have more guests, just friends of mine, just great people for you to learn from. We're going to do sales Q&A. I might put it behind a paywall, so tap in while you can. But until we meet again, cheers to your success. Keep going.